In Google Sheets, you know that you can easily insert charts that help you visually display and analyze your data, but there's also some really easy ways to quickly analyze your data even within just one cell. And one of the best ways to do that is with something called Sparklines. And that's a function that allows you to insert a tiny chart right within the cell. So let's find out how to add some sparkle to your sheet. So here we have a group of imaginary students with some grades. Let's say you wanted to study the trend line of how the quizzes are going. How are students doing over time? And a sparkline is a great way to quickly get a visual of that. So here's how I do it. Sparklines is a regular function inside Sheets. And so whenever I'm going to do a function, I place my cursor in the cell where I'd like the result to appear. And of course, I always start with the equal sign. Now I could type it straight in the cell here, but it's easier if I go over here to the functions bar. So if I put an equal sign, and then if I begin typing the word spark, you see that spark line comes up. So if I choose it, it creates a place for me to begin making my formula. So as you know, you can highlight the cells that you want to feature. So I can simply come over here and highlight these 3 cells. As you can see now, I have G2 through I2 highlighted. Now, a function has to have a closed parenthesis. So I could come up here to the formula bar and type in a parenthesis, which would close it, or typically I can just hit enter and watch what happens. Look, now I have a tiny, tiny chart within the cell. And I can use the fill handle to pull that down, as you can see. And now I have a trend line for each of my students. So I can see, so here's a student who started out well and he's going down. Oh, here's another one. So I need to pay attention, especially to students who might have started out well and then they started crashing, right? So if I want to get fancy, I can do some other things with my sparkline. So if I come back up here, let's say I want to change the color of the sparkline. So I can add a comma here, and then I have to use the curly bracket to put my qualifiers in. So if I put in, and I have to use quotation marks, color, close quotation, comma, quotation, red, close, curly brackets, and then, as you know, each formula has to have a set of parentheses around the complete formula. So if I close that in, hit enter, and now watch, my line is now red. I can choose the fill handle, and then I can make all of my trend lines red. How cool is that? Yay! And so I could come up here and just title this trend. And there are other things I can do, of course. I could change the thickness of the lines. If I want to find out all the things I can do with spark lines, I can come over here to the functions, hit this down arrow, and go to Learn More. That brings up every formula that can be used within Google Sheets, and it is a massive list. So if I want to find out more about spark lines, I can click Learn More here, and then I get even more information that tells me all the ways I can set up sparklines, all the syntax I can use to make my sparklines more sparkly. So, isn't that awesome? A tiny chart within a cell. That's sparklines. You're going to love it.